I'm trapped in the pretty, breathing ammonia fumes. I'm about 0.1 miles from my hammock and no rain gear. Guess I'm about to get wet. Did not need to get wet. Good morning. It's day 150. Good afternoon, rather. Yeah, it took me a while to get up and going today. First off, it has been raining off and on since 7 maybe, and it never really stopped long enough to where I had confidence in hitting the trail, although there were ample opportunities that I just procrastinated my way through. And then started having like what felt like acid reflux or heartburn, but which manifested itself as a full-blown panic attack. So I kind of forced my way through camp, packing up camp while that was going on, and have suddenly thought of 1,000 little things to journal about. But a lot of it's just unprocessed fears, let's say, as well as certain kind of existential realizations that I don't know that I've fully formulated them enough to be able to talk about them just yet. But spider webs keep hitting me in the face. So anyway, here it is, 12:30. I've been hiking for about 20 minutes. And at least based on the camping rules for this state, I'm gonna have to stop at like 6.5 miles on the day, because the next campsite is 10 miles past that. There's no way I'm making it that far with this late start. Why are these signs so high? Were they at eye level when they were mounted and now they've just grown? That's eye level right there. Yes, I'm wearing a bug net on my head, but not over my face. It just got too hot. And since I took it off, the bugs haven't been bothering me, so I'm just gonna leave it. I'll probably put it away in a second. But just out of nowhere, in the last 5 minutes, it got super dark and kind of cool, which feels great, but to me that says it's probably about to rain. So I'm gonna find a spot to sit down and put my pack cover on, just to be covered in case it does. It is, yeah, early mid afternoon. Double blaze. So I'm gonna do that just in case it rains. There we go. As I was putting this on, I started hearing thunder, so suspicions confirmed. Rain is in the area. I should be approaching halfway to that campsite, which unfortunately is going to have to be it for the day. This is me pulling another 0 because I couldn't manage to get out of camp this morning. And I think I had to psychoanalyze myself. Hey, I just wanted to jump in here. It's a few weeks later, and I was editing this segment and realized I've got a long, rambling monologue that says a whole lot of nothing and takes up a bunch of time. And as I'm trying to figure out how to slice that up into something that's coherent, I realized I should just say what I meant more succinctly, and I'll just insert it here. So I was trying to talk about what I feel like probably were the factors that caused my panic attack that morning. And one for sure was the fact that I had not taken a 0 day, a full day of rest in like 3 or 3.5 weeks at that point. So I was kind of getting a little worn down, and that was starting to show through emotionally as well as just physically. I was finding it hard to put in full mileage days, and also I was kind of worn a little thin. One of the other factors was kind of this realization that even though I'm surrounded by what at the like that day, for instance, was a very large bubble, they were all strangers to me because they were coming up from behind, and all the people that I knew and recognized and had hiked with in weeks before were all ahead of me, and just beyond, like only just a day or two ahead of me, a lot of them, based on my reading of the shelter logs and far out comments and what have you. And I think part of the reason I was resisting getting off trail for a 0 was that would put them just that much further away. And I was just generally feeling lonely, and also this kind of sudden realization that none of the sudden realization that I may not ever see a lot of these people again. And then the kind of the existential level of realization that this whole experience, when experienced alone, only exists in the form of my memory, and it's not shared. And I think that really, suddenly thinking of it that way, was like a blow of some kind. To what, I'm not sure, but I think that is one of the things that I was reflecting on that morning, that none of this happened to anyone else, and that I'm just taking that with me, and that if I were with people through most of my hike or much of my hike, it would, each individual person's experience would be their own, but it would feel like it was a shared experience, and I realized I didn't have that. I just had what was, the memory I have, and it had, most of it had not been shared with anybody. So that was kind of the existential realization, if that's the right word even. And I believe those were, if you want to call it a trifecta of triggers that all kind of overlapped that morning. I've had enough experience with panic attacks to where that's how I usually end up breaking them down. It's like one or two of those things by themselves wouldn't do it, but if I have like three things all overlap at the same time, that's usually what triggers one of those. And it's been a few, I might say years since I've had one like that, but I've had them on long hikes before where, if you're alone in the woods long enough, shit comes out. And that was one of those moments. So anyway, I'll let you get back to the video. This is me from the future. Realization that I had that probably formed the trifecta for the panic attack / grief attack this morning. There we are. It got so dark. I don't know if it shows on camera, but it's like twilight, like 5 minutes after sunset right now. And there's thunder in the distance, but it hadn't really started raining, so I don't know. Fortunately, from here, all I have is down and then flat to the campsite. But I seriously doubt I'm not going to get wet. It's crazy. There's lightning and thunder popping off all around me, like right on top. Not that I want it to happen again, but it would be cool to get some on footage. And also my camera's not working that well because the screen gets wet, my fingers get wet. I can't control it, so probably not a lot of footage here going forward. But I've been walking in this downpour for about 15 minutes. It's gotten lighter, but the rain's only gotten harder and the thunder's gotten closer, so I don't know. All I can do is keep walking. For a minute there, I thought about setting up a tarp and just huddling under it for a while, but I don't know, maybe. Seems like it's moving away a little bit, just in terms of timing between symptoms, between contractions. It has all waterlogged. It looks weird to me. Well, it rained for almost exactly an hour, from like 5 after 2 until 5 after 3, maybe right around 3. For a while there, it was, you probably saw the clip, it was thunder and lightning like right overhead, like no delay. Fortunately, I didn't see any lightning strikes or feel any electricity in the air, as one sometimes does, but I was worried about this part right here because I couldn't tell from the far out if this was like an exposed steep descent like some of the ones the last couple of days, but it's not, and the rain has stopped by the time I got here. But I'm about a half mile from, maybe 0.6 from the campsite, and it's like a 700 foot 17% descent grade. But the sun's breaking through, and I can still hear thunder off in the distance, and every time a gust of wind blows, it rains for a second just from the wet leaves. And there's a nice fog settling in on this hillside, on this side of the mountain, which is quite pretty. It's still cool enough to where it doesn't feel oppressively humid, so that's good. But I'm pretty much soaked to the bone once again. Hopefully my pack cover served its purpose and kept my pack relatively dry, but we'll find out when I get where I'm going. I haven't had a single bite to eat yet, but I'll be getting into camp early enough where I can have lunch and then later have dinner, maybe some snacks in between, because I need to have eaten. Just been hanging out in that tent for the last 3 or 4 hours, texting with people and watching videos and journaling. I mean, editing videos and journaling, that sort of thing. But it's getting close to when I was about to make dinner, and suddenly the sky opened up again. This is kind of what I was walking through about 5 hours ago. So, doing that thing again. Not nearly as dark as it was, though. Got my laundry lying under the tarp. My wet socks and everything.